After grabbing my first Moto3 win last round in Aragon, we now head to Mugello, one of my absolute favorite tracks on the calendar. I always feel comfortable here. Unfortunately, I messed up in Q2, so I'll be starting from 17th on the grid, but my start is strong. And the rest of the field? Total chaos. Riders going off track, others way too slow off the line. By the time we reach turn 1, I'm already right up at the front and fighting for 4th. Coming out of San Donato and into turns 2 and 3, I'm already past Almanza as well, now up into 3rd, chasing Buchanan and Furusato. It takes me the whole opening lap to catch them, but coming out of the final corner and onto Mugello's massive straight, I'm right in their slipstream. But there's a big problem this race: fuel consumption. Even with a full tank, I'm projected to run out just before the finish, so I'll have to save fuel, which is far from ideal in Moto3. But for now, I've used the slipstream to my advantage and made my way past both leaders. I'm in front as we start lap 2 of this Moto3 race. I'm keeping the power mode on the highest setting for now, hoping I can pull a small gap to the riders behind, just like I did last time in Aragon. What I love about Mugello is all the fast direction changes and the fact that pretty much everything here is high speed. The problem though is that our sniper's Honda really struggles with stability, especially during those direction changes. I get loads of front lift and wheeling when switching from side to side, and that's causing some serious problems here at Mugello in particular. Diving into turns 4 and 5, I'm absolutely on the limit. I miss my braking markers and run wide in turn 4. Buchanan's right on me, and Furusato takes full advantage, cutting underneath and snatching the lead. We're side by side into Casanova, but I go wide again through Savelli. And now Furusato takes the lead for real. I've now fully switched to the medium power mode, hoping it'll help me reach the finish line without running out of fuel. But it's definitely not helping me catch Furusato. We're halfway through lap 3 and he's almost a full second up the road. Meanwhile, Keyless is done waiting behind me. He tries to barge his way through into turns 10 and 11, but I just about hold on to second for now. Coming out of turn 12 and into turns 13 and 14, I try to pull a small gap again, but I hit the inside curb hard and it unsettles the bike big time. I run into the gravel, manage to keep it upright and hold my position, but I do get my first track limits warning, and just to make things worse, Kjells launches another attack, this time down the inside into turn 15, and this time it's successful. The good news? We've got a small gap to Almanza and Munoz behind, so it's still a two-man fight for now. As we hit Mugello's long straight to start lap 4 of 5, I use the slipstream and breeze past Kjells again. But here comes the real problem. 2 full laps on medium power mode and I'm still projected to come up short on fuel. So, at the end of the start-finish straight, I have to make the call. Drop it into the lowest power mapping. At this point, I have no idea what the real impact of this lowest power mode will be. Through turns 2 and 3, things feel okay. But coming out of turn 3, the problem becomes very clear. I'm slow, like painfully slow. I just about keep Keyless behind, but the tiny gap I had to Almanza and Munoz, it's gone, instantly. Coming out of turn 5, both Kjells and Almanza are all over me. I force my way back past Kjells coming out of Casanova, probably a bit too aggressively, and it's a miracle I'm still in front after Savelli. Heading into the Arabiatas, Almanza is right on my tail, and in the second of the 2 corners, he shows no mercy, barges his way through, and immediately drags Kjells and Munoz with him. Into turn 10, I miss my marks again and go straight into Almanza's back wheel. Somehow, neither of us goes down. It does push Kjells wide, but I can't capitalize through the change of direction. Then we both run wide again, and Joel Kelso sneaks through. From 2nd to 6th and half a lap, and yeah, I may have totally ruined Kjells' race in the process. Sorry, Kjells. I'm way quicker than the guys in front through the high-speed direction changes, and I managed to pass both Kjells and Kelso just before the final corner. As we blast onto Mugello's long straight for the penultimate time, starting the final lap, the fuel projection says I'll run out right at the finish. And I'm still in the lowest power mode, but both Kjells and Kelso fly past me in the draft. I've got no choice. I switch it back to medium and even high power just to stay in touch. With 1 lap to go, I decide there's no holding back. I just have to go for it and hope the fuel holds out. I dive past Kjells into San Donato, fully committed. Even Munoz and Almanza aren't that far up the road, maybe. just maybe I can fight my way back to the podium. But then the stability issues rear their ugly head out of nowhere. The rear snaps around, and just like that, the podium chances are gone. It's just that tiny wheelie that does it. Damn! I rejoin around 15th, so a points finish could still be on the cards. So now I'm riding a damaged bike and running out of fuel, fighting Lunetta for that final point. I feel like I've still got just enough pace to hold on to 15th as we dive into Casanova one last time, but then, while switching direction into Savelli, I run out of talent. Like an absolute donkey, I make the exact same mistake as 4 corners ago. Well, so much for that points finish here at Mugello. With just a few hundred meters to go, the engine cuts out. I'm out of fuel before the finish line and roll across it in 18th. What a disaster, class of a final lap. But no time to dwell. Next up is Assen, my absolute favorite and my home track. I've raced here multiple times in real life, and while the game doesn't quite capture the real thing, even in game, this place still feels like magic to me. Qualifying went well, so I'm starting from P5, but my start is poor and I immediately lose a few positions. And then there's Lunetta, who, for some completely unexplainable reason, cuts across the track, goes onto the grass, and somehow rejoins like nothing happened. But after turns 1 and 2, I've already made up a lot of ground, and through that long, never-ending right-hander, I climb into 4th. Coming out of turn 5, I blast past Scott Ogden on the straight for 3rd. Now I've got Rulestone and Peekers up ahead. Peekers is quick, no doubt, but so far this season, he's definitely looked beatable. It takes me a little while to get close enough to actually make a move on the pair. Heading into the Garrett Timmer chicane at the end of lap 1, I go for a move on Piqueras and fail miserably. I end up cutting the corner completely, and honestly, it felt like a cheat, so I back off a bit and lose some ground. But then, for whatever reason, as we start lap 2, both Rulestone and Piqueras suddenly lose speed. I slip past Piqueras into turn 1, and moments later, Rulestone runs slightly wide, letting me take the lead. And now, like Lewis Hamilton would say, it's hammer time. The plan is simple. Don't let anyone get back at me. I start pushing like crazy. I get through the first section cleanly and nail the exit from the tight turn 5 onto the straight. The gap behind is already a few tenths. By the time we reach the end of lap 2, I'm closing in on a full second of breathing room. Starting lap 3, I'm feeling pretty confident. I don't think I'm going to make any more mistakes. I run a little wide into turn 1, but from there on out, the next 3 laps are pretty much as close to perfect as I can get. By the time we hit the final lap, I've got a 3-second gap, and I'm cruising toward victory here at Assen. Only issue, my tires, especially on the right side, are cooked, and I can feel my focus starting to slip just a bit. The gap stays comfortable, mostly because the guys behind are busy fighting over second, but I'm definitely starting to mess up the little things. Downshifting 1 gear too many, missing apexes, running wide here and there, and then through turn 10, I'm sloppy getting back on the throttle, and that worn rear tire finally gives up. The rear steps out, and I almost bottle it. Almost cost myself the home race victory, but somehow I saved it. Probably more luck than skill, to be honest. The gap has come down significantly though. It's still just under 2 seconds, so I'm not panicking yet, but there's no more room for error through the final sector of the lap. I'm clean through the Ramshook and on the brakes for the Gert Timmer chicane one final time in this rookie Moto3 campaign, and man, this victory feels sweet and dominant. It also gives me a solid boost in the championship. I jumped from 10th to 7th, and the top 5, not out of reach just yet. So, can I keep the momentum going for the final race of this video? Round 11 at the Sachsenring. Man, in the past, I've struggled a lot on this track in the MotoGP games, but this time I actually had a decent qualifying, starting from 11th. And since my race pace is usually stronger than my 1-lap speed, I'm confident I can fight for the podium again. And it's instant chaos. Kiel smashes into the pit wall and crashes. His bike flies back across the track and wipes out Joel Kelso's front wheel. I just barely swerve around Kelso's bike, and somehow I even gain a few positions into turn 1. I'm already up to 6, what a start to this race. Heading through the long right-hander that is turn 3, David Munoz is already wreaking havoc up ahead. Classic Munoz, and while I'm trying to keep an eye on him, Nepa sneaks past me on the inside. I try to hit back immediately on the inside through the never-ending left-hander, but Nepa carries great speed through the first part of the corner. Then, in the final section, Moodley runs a little wide and Nepa slows up just enough. Somehow, I squeeze through the tiny gap between them, up to 5th. At this point, the field starts to settle a little. The first chance I get to make a move on Munoz is at the start of lap 2. I use his draft to close the gap and take a wide line, trying to cut across him into turn 1. But Munoz being Munoz, he gives me a little love tap and dives back underneath to retake 5th. Then into turn 2, I've got the inside line, and this time I get past him again. But then heading into turn 3 again, I leave the tiniest bit of space, and somehow Munoz still manages to shove his way in there. Honestly, great racing if you ask me. But I'm still right there, not giving in. We're side by side, going up the hill and then immediately back down again. Then, heading downhill, the front 3 all clip the inside curb and unsettle their bikes, opening the door for Munoz and me to close the gap and go on the attack. I'm on the outside of Fernandez into turn 8, and he gives me a big nudge this time, just enough to throw me offline. That paves the way for Munoz to come charging through on the inside once again. I then have the biggest moment ever trying to follow Munoz to bouncing over the inside curb and somehow holding on. I slot back in behind Fernandez, but all eyes are on Munoz. He's on a full-on warpath. Then heading into the Saxon curb, Rueda hits the inside curb again. At the exact moment I'm trying to get past his teammate Alex Carpi. Somehow I thread the needle and manage to pass both KTMs in one go. I'm up into 3rd now, still behind Fernandez and Munoz. And so we hit the straight again for the start of lap 3, where I try to pull a carbon copy of my move on Munoz from a lap earlier, this time on Fernandez. I use his draft to come alongside, take a wide line into turn 1, but this time I expect him to be there. I make sure I've got the inside for turn 2. Now I just need to not run wide in turn 3 this time. I keep it as tight as possible without scrubbing too much speed, and I manage to keep Fernandez behind. Now, it's hunt mode, time to chase down Munoz for the lead. It takes me the rest of lap 3 to close the gap, but once again, as we hit the main straight to start lap 4 of 7, I'm right there in his draft. My advantage into turn 1 is bigger this time, but I know Munoz is going to brake as late as humanly possible and try to block me, so I take it easy, let him run it wide, and just cut back underneath him clean and easy. But I run ever so slightly wide in turn 2, and just like that, I have to start all over again as Munoz easily cuts back underneath. So I throw it down his inside into turn 3, giving him a taste of his own medicine. But Munoz is an absolute beast in these battles. He cuts back inside again, runs a little wide, and I get just enough room to cut underneath once more. Now Rueda is closing in, looking to join the party, and it turns out he's my saving grace. He clips the inside curb for the 3rd time this race, takes Munoz with him, and suddenly, I've got some breathing space. Now, I won't beat around the bush for too long. The race was tense, but nothing dramatic after that, aside from yet another inevitable Munoz crash. So let's skip ahead to the final lap, lap 7, where I'm still holding a tiny lead over Fernandez, but just like in Assen, I'm starting to make those tiny mistakes again, and Fernandez is getting real close. Heading into the final corner, I know I can afford to go a little wide, as long as I carry the speed and don't give Fernandez any room to dive bomb me. I brake late, hold the line, and just manage to stay ahead of him. Meanwhile, behind us, Rueda crashes out of 4th, adding one last bit of drama to the finish. But more importantly, I hold on for the win. That's back-to-back victories and 3 wins in the last 4 races. Damn, things are really starting to look up. And speaking of going up, I'm climbing in the standings too. With this win and Rueda crashing in the final corner, we're now tied on points for 5th place. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we've got heartbreak, red flags, and a visit to the brand new Hungary track. Goodbye.